A foundation doesn't collapse from a sudden strike. It fails when a slow, invisible pressure takes hold, expanding until the roots finally shatter the foundation. Recently, the Quebec municipality of Terrasse-Vaudreuil took a progressive civic step. As this post announces, they signed the Universal Declaration of the Rights of the Tree, stating trees communicate through their roots and must be legally recognized as living beings with rights. To be clear, we are not evaluating the merits of forest conservation. The ecological value of a tree is entirely separate from the legal architecture being deployed here. Look closely at the actual text of the declaration. The legal mandate isn't strictly about trees. It elevates the fundamental rights and freedoms of all, quote, biotic and abiotic factors. A local municipality passing a symbolic resolution reads like a standard environmental initiative. In practice, it acts as a mechanism to completely rewire constitutional jurisprudence and alter the source of legal authority. To understand how the law is changing, we have to examine the legal definition of what a human being actually is. This is a matter of ontology, the study of being, and how entities are classified under the law. Historically, when legal rights expanded, the goal was inclusion. Systems evolved to recognize marginalized humans, securing their status within the pre-existing category of human rights. The rights of nature framework operates in reverse. Assigning legal rights to a tree, a river, or an ecosystem does not elevate the natural world to the status of humanity. It demotes the human being to the status of flora and fauna. The individual citizen is conceptually dissolved. You are no longer recognized as a distinct legal entity with unique liberties. You are reclassified merely as one component within a collective defined as all planetary beings. By stripping away the unique, elevated legal status of the human person, the framework creates a vacuum of sovereignty. A legal system stripped of the individual citizen requires a new authority to govern it. Classical constitutional republicanism is built linearly. Man, rights, government. Innate human rights act as a buffer, and government is created solely to secure them. But the Earth Charter inverts this. Earth system, ecological duties, government. Individual rights become conditional on ecological compliance. The practical application of the law shifts instantly. The classical framework asks a straightforward question: what rights does this person possess? The new system asks something entirely different. What impact does this person have upon the Earth community? Swapping these architectural models permanently changes the primary function of law from protecting individual freedom to mathematically managing biological impact. This brings us to a glaring physical impossibility at the center of the rights of nature framework. Trees cannot appear in court. Rivers cannot testify. Ecosystems cannot vote. Because nature is silent, the legal system mandates a proxy. A representative class emerges: scientists, NGOs, and administrators. This is technocracy, the subjugation of human beings by an unelected administrative class wielding scientific authority to dictate legal outcomes. Through the mechanism of legal positivism, the forest and the water acquire legal standing only because this intermediary class operationalizes it. The administrators hold the actual power. This structural transfer of power is not confined to a few isolated municipalities. As seen here at the UN Assembly, it is being coordinated at the international scale by massive bureaucratic bodies. The unstated outcome is clear. Ecosystems are granted legal rights explicitly so this administrative class can harvest unquestionable unilateral power over the public.
Historically, property rights were vigorously protected because they were viewed as direct extensions of human liberty. If you own the land, you control your own life. Under the rights of nature framework, the property owner becomes just one stakeholder among many. Human liberty is forced onto a scale against abstract ecosystem claims and the supposed obligations to future planetary beings. The exact mechanism used to weigh these claims is scientific digital modeling, frequently developed by institutions like the one pictured here, Imperial College London. These digital models are entirely controlled by their operators. By restricting the input data, administrators can manufacture specific outcome models designed to execute behavioral control at a population scale. We see this clearly when domestic administrative agencies, operating under banners like the Department for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs, utilize these exact models to exert strict operational control over agricultural sectors and independent farmers. This triggers a profound constitutional shift. Public officials no longer have to appeal to the citizens to justify their actions. They appeal to an entity that cannot consent and cannot participate politically. When a government claims its supreme mandate is acting on behalf of the planet, it legally liberates itself from requiring the consent of the governed. To see the final consequence of this shift, we must look at the American Declaration of Independence. The framework rests entirely on the phrase self-evident, relying on ordinary people to recognize innate truths about their own nature and liberty without needing permission or mediation. The Technocratic rights of nature framework relies on deliberate opacity. It is a locked box of ecological systems theory, accessible only to credentialed experts. In this environment, citizens are stripped of the ability to simply know what their rights are. You cannot verify digital climate models or ecosystem matrices by observing the world around you. Instead, the citizen must be continuously informed. You must be managed, instructed, and guided through doctrines of planetary stewardship by the administrative class. This framework's most devastating achievement is the complete erasure of self-evident truth. It replaces undeniable, innate human liberty with a set of conditional privileges, issued and revoked by experts. Protecting trees is merely the marketing. It is the narrative cover used to secure public compliance for a much larger operation. The ultimate reality is an anthropological usurpation. The goal is to legally erase the unique status of the individual, sublating the human being into a manageable, trackable planetary asset. We are watching a suffocating administrative mechanism expand, methodically overpowering the individual citizen beneath a sprawling bureaucratic shadow. The only effective defense against this totalitarian creep is a firm, unyielding grounding in the first principles of constitutional republicanism. You have to know precisely what a human being is under the law. Modern educational institutions intentionally fail to teach these core principles, leaving the public intellectually disarmed and entirely defenseless against this kind of ideological warfare. At the same time, public servants and elected officials routinely fail to recognize or reject these bogus usurpations of their own governance architecture. By failing to recognize the juridical trap of Earth system rights, the public permits a consolidation of technocratic power that operates through the guise of scientific management and the legal negation of the human being.